बच्चों, आज मैं आपको सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट अपनी एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड के बारे में बताने जा रही हूँ, जिसे कहते हैं पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड. इट इज़ द मास्टर ऑफ ऑल द एंडोक्राइन ग्लैंड्स. It is present in the anterior of our brain and controls rest of all the endocrine glands. So it is the most important endocrine gland which is known as pituitary gland. ठीक. अच्छा, जो इसका पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड है, देखो आप लोग देख भी रहे हैं, इट इज प्रेजेंट ऑन द बेसल साइड, वेंट्रल साइड ऑफ अवर ब्रेन, नियर द डायंसेफ्लॉन. और ये जो डायंसेफ्लॉन में है, ये सेला टर्सिका नॉच बना होता है, विच इज फॉर्म ड्यूरिंग द बक्कल कैविटी फॉर्मेशन ड्यूरिंग द फीटल स्टेज. ठीक, उसके अंदर में हमारा ये नॉब ऐसा लटका रहता है. इट इज पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड. अब पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड में नेक्स्ट पार्ट हम लोग इसके बारे में जानते हैं. इट इज ऑल्सो नोन एज हाइपोफाइसिस scientifically, and is a gland which is present at the base of the brain like a pea on a string. So this is what I have told you. It is actually located at the diencephalon part of the brain in the midbrain region. So several hormones are produced, and though it is very small, but it secretes so many hormones that this simple pea-like structure is actually divided into two parts: adenohypophysis and न्यूरोहाइपोफाइसिस. जो एडेनोहाइपोफाइसिस है वो एंटीरियर पार्ट होता है, और इन दोनों का जो मिडिल रीजन होता है उससे, ये देखो जो फर्स्ट पार्ट है ये एंटीरियर पोर्शन, इसे कहते हैं एडेनोहाइपोफाइसिस. बिल्कुल हाइपोफाइसिस हम लोगों ने अभी पता किया, पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड को हम लोग हाइपोफाइसिस भी कहते हैं. जो हमारा फ्रंट होता है, आगे का हिस्सा होता है, उसे एंटीरियर पिट्यूटरी या एडेनोहाइपोफाइसिस कहते हैं. और जो पीछे का पार्ट होता है उसे कहते हैं पोस्टीरियर पिट्यूटरी या न्यूरोहाइपोफाइसिस. अब इसका रीजन क्या है? जो एडेनोहाइपोफाइसिस होता है, बेसिकली इसमें तो हमारी ग्लैंड्स होती हैं, इसमें हमारी सेल्स होती है जो सिक्रीट करती है हार्मोन को. वाइल जो हमारा पोस्टीरियर, इसको हम लोग न्यूरो इसलिए कहते हैं बिकॉज यहाँ पर हमारी नर्व ग्लैंड्स होती हैं जो कि एक तरह से ट्रांसमीटर सिक्रीट करती हैं. सो इट इज न्यूरोनल कंट्रोल, sort of a neuronal control. So it is called neurohypophysis. So it is anterior. हम अच्छा देखिए, हम ह्यूमन के केस में तो दो लोब्स होते हैं, बट इन केस ऑफ एनिमल्स इट इज देयर इज प्रेजेंस ऑफ मिड ब्रेन ऑल्सो, एंड इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. जो थर्ड आई कहते हैं ना, मेलाटोनिन, इट प्लेज द रोल ऑफ दैट, जो कि हमारे केस में वेस्टिजियल होता है. ठीक. सो एडेनोहाइपोफाइसिस, न्यूरोहाइपोफाइसिस, और हम लोगों जो मिड पोर्शन उसे कहते हैं पार्स नर्वोसा. ठीक. नाउ द पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड इज एक्चुअली it is suspended below on the from the basal side of our brain, and the part from which it is suspended is known as infundibulum. Okay, and it lies in the hypophyse of the sphenoid bone, the bone which is on the basal side of this space is sphenoid bone, and this notch is known as sella turcica. So posterior part, important of posterior pituitary, it takes messages from the brain via a gland called hypothalamus and uses these messages to produce hormones that affect many parts of our body. And for this reason it is often referred to as master gland. So the two hormones that are secreted by our posterior gland is oxytocin, pitocin, and second is pitresin या antidiuretic hormone. So अगर हमारा ये जो both the hormones है, the first is over secretion of vasopressin. Vasopressin is actually pitresin. It causes the syndrome, that is syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone. This is the hormone which is actually responsible for the concentrating the urine. So if it is secreted in lesser amount, the urine will be highly diluted, and so this will cause dehydration in our body, and the process of micturition will be more often. So this hormone is very important for regulation of our internal acid base. Okay, It is important for our osmoregulation of our body. And the second is called pitocin and oxytocin. It is actually important. So first, okay. So let me complete it first. So first we have known that over secretion of vasopressin will cause the syndrome. That is, if it is secreted in higher amount, our urine will be highly concentrated, and insufficient secretion will cause diabetes insipidus. It is a condition in which body loses the capacity to concentrate urine. Please do not confuse it with the diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus क्या होता है? जो इंसुलिन की कमी से होता है. It is because of pancreatic dysfunction. और ये है डायबिटीज़ इंसिपिडस जो कि हमारी पोस्टीरियर पार्ट ऑफ द पिट्यूटरी ग्लैंड की एबनॉर्मलिटी की वजह से होता है. इसकी वजह से द अफेक्टेड इंडिविजुअल्स एक्सक्रीट एज मच एज 20 लीटर्स ऑफ डाइल्यूट यूरिन. इतना तो फर्क होता ही होता, बट यू नीड टू ड्रिंक मोर एंड मोर वाटर टू मेंटेन द एसिड वाटर कंटेंट इन आवर बॉडी. You have to osmoregulate in our body, we need to drink more and more water, and then there is a process that one has to go as many times he drinks, he has to go as many, because there is the problem in concentrating the urine. एक मैंने बोला वैसोप्रेसिन. वैसोप्रेसिन is also known as एंटी डायूरेटिक हार्मोन. एंटी डायूरेटिक मतलब जो डाइल्यूशन को रोकता है, एंटी डायूरेटिक हार्मोन, और also known as पिट्रेसिन. 3 names are there for the vasopressin, pitracin and antidiuretic hormone. And the second one that we are using is oxytocin. Oxytocin is also known as pitocin. What is oxytocin or pitocin? ठीक है. And it is the childbirth hormone. Its important role is during to cause the contraction in the uterus region during the childbirth, and also induces the production of milk from the mammary glands when the childbirth occurs. So this hormone is of temporary use, while the vasopressin that occurs in both, that plays important role both in male and female. This way we have discussed the 2 important hormones secreted by the pituitary gland. Now we go for the anterior pituitary gland. Now we go for the anterior pituitary gland. जो anterior pituitary gland है, उससे जो हमारे हार्मोन्स निकलते हैं, they are basically the regulatory factors required to stimulate or control the different endocrine glands present in our body, like thyroid stimulating hormone. Second is adenocardiotrophic hormone. Adenocardiotrophic, it will actually control the adrenal gland. Thyroid stimulating hormone control thyroid gland. Luteinizing hormone, it controls the reproductive gland like testis and ovary in the male and female. Then follicle stimulating hormone. Growth hormone actually is it is the main hormone that is secreted by the pituitary gland, and it has the direct effect on our body. It actually controls the development of the bones and the growth of the human body, okay, and prolactin hormone. So these are the major hormones that are secreted by the anterior pituitary gland. Now we'll again look that anterior pituitary gland is present in the front part. It is anterior. It is also known as adenohypophysis of the pituitary gland, which is found at the floor of the brain, called sella turcica. Sella turcica is the cavity, the notch that is formed. It is called sella turcica. Below the sella turcica, the bone which is present is sphenoid, and the stalk by which this pea-like structure, this our adrenal gland, this pituitary gland is attached, is known as infundibulum. So now you know the terms which are required to understand the proper anatomy of our pituitary gland. Adenohypophysis, neurohypophysis, the mid one is known as pars tuberalis, and the stalk by which it is attached is called infundibulum. The notch in which it is present is called sella turcica, and the basal bone is sphenoid bone. So it is So it is also known as adenohypophysis. It is a major organ of the endocrine system. It has negative feedback mechanism because it has the release factors which goes to that target, that hormone or that gland, and once it sees that abundant amount, satisfactory amount is released, it has the negative feedback that immediately it will stop that thyroid gland to or any other gland to which the target hormone is going to again produce that further hormone. So this way it has the negative feedback mechanism, and the same mechanism is actually followed in this endocrine this and pituitary endocrine gland. It is known as the system which is actually following this negative feedback mechanism is also known as adenohypophyseal mechanism, right. So okay, so these are by these growth hormones, it actually stimulates the growth and maturation of the gonads. It influences sexual behavior. This stimulate growth and maturation of gonads, that luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone. Okay. Then influence sexual behavior. It has the prolactin, which helps in control growth and metabolism, that is growth hormone, somatotropic hormone, and the control chemical and water balance in the body, thyroid hormone and adrenal corticotropic hormone. These two hormones help in controlling the chemical and water balance in the body. Then hormones of the pituitary gland, growth hormone, all the tissues, major hormone. You know that though if it is secreted in extra amount, you have seen the giants which are having long limbs, they are called acromegaly condition, in which they have the phalanges, their ends of their these parts, hands and legs are extremely elongated. It is called acromegaly and they are known as giants. Okay. While if it is less secreted, it will produce midgets, that they are grown in size but their height will not increase, they are called midgets. Okay. Then thyroid stimulating hormone targets thyroid gland, adrenocorticotropic hormone, adrenal cortex, prolactin hormone, breast, mammary gland development, follicle stimulating hormone, ovaries and testes, and luteinizing hormone, ovaries and testes. So here they have shown again that you can see that in the, this is infundibulum. In infundibulum, you see that in posterior part there are presence of nerve endings. Okay, these nerve endings secretes hormones which I have already discussed, pitresin and pitocin, and while the anterior part, again we have shown thyroid gland. It is present in our neck part, important for the this thyroxine hormone, and you know that it plays so major roles. The iodine deficiency causes so many diseases in our body, it is so much important. Then mammary gland development is by the prolactin. Then adrenal gland, which is present at the anterior lateral side. If it is the, if you see that this is your adrenal gland, this is our kidney, bean shaped, then adrenal gland is present like this. Okay. So this part is cortex and outer side is called medulla. So it controls the adrenocorticotropic hormone secreted by the adrenal cortex. It is present on the anterior lateral side of the kidney. Okay. So and next is we see somatic cell secretes somatotropic hormone, growth hormone. It has effect on the bones, on the muscles, on the adipose tissue. Then gonadotropic hormone and like luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, development of the testis and ovary, and melanocytes. Actually this pars inter, I have already told you that melatonin hormone that was actually secreted by the middle of the brain is vestigial in our case. So that hormone is also secreted in parts, in minute quantity by the anterior pituitary gland, and it is called melanocyte stimulating hormone. So here it is written pars intermedia, that middle. that mid pituitary part, which is vestigial or it is very thin line like, is not secreting directly as such any hormone. That hormone is also shifted to anterior pituitary part. It is known as it helps in the melanin development, and also it is in the case of animals, it is known as third eye. So, dear friends, now we could understand that pituitary gland is so important. We have seen its effect in various parts of our body, in overall development, in maturity of a human being. So, you can now understand that how important is this gland. Okay. So, it is very good, that is why it is called master of all endocrine glands.